Now, there is a fifth blog to Tall Tales, but I'm not going to talk about that yet. First, I want to talk about the two. The two are characters in Tall Tales that show up fairly frequently throughout the story, and they borrow heavily from the idea of this divine dualities in folklore and mythology, where you have light and dark, or a god and goddess, or order and chaos, and so on and so forth. They play off of that idea a lot, and they are supernatural beings. They go by multiple names throughout the story. The Two is a very common title for them, but they also take on raven forms very frequently, and so sometimes they're called the Ravens, and sometimes they're called Hugin and Munin. But their names, when the story tells us that they have actual names, are just King and Queen. And there's not really a whole lot explored about why that is just yet, except that they are essentially the personification of the supernatural world. This comes up a few times, that they are personifications, that they're anthropomorphic ideals, in which Queen, who is Hugin, which means thought, is the wild, untamed nature of magic, and King, who is Munin, which means memory, is the rigid, organized, ordered nature of magic. Sometimes they're described as ruling over this metaphysical realm. Sometimes they're described as being the metaphysical realm. It's not entirely clear what their relationship to reality is. There are some things that make them stand out. For instance, they're not bound by time. They seem to have an incredible amount of power. One oddity about them is that they seem very interested in the Madison family, Madison and his father and his grandfather, and they keep showing up in the lives and in the story of what's going on with Madison. And it's not entirely clear why. A couple of the characters actually ask questions about that and don't really get solid answers. They also seem to have some strife going with Hecate. There's some conflict happening there that we get glimpses of here and there that is growing as the story goes on. There is more to be said about them, but really you're going to have to read the story and see the ways that it's woven through. There is a post called The Ravens that shows up on the narrator blog that I encourage you to check out through this link, and that should give you a decent start. Thank you.